So again, I want to introduce everyone to Christina Hrebal. So Christina, come on up here. So here's a few things, okay? So I'm going to ask you if you know what your numbers are. Don't look up on the board. Do you know what your numbers are?
Yes and no.
Okay, so I know what your numbers are. Let everybody know when you started. When did you start in the business?
So I joined the team in February of last year and then got my license March 11th of last year.
Okay, so it's
I'm
essentially
17 months
April,
in the business.
right, essentially April of last year was your first full month.
Yes.
Okay, so in those 16 plus months, so last year, and again, she experienced the same hurricane as you did, okay? Here's her production. She had 8 closings for almost $3 million last year. This year, she's already closed 10 for almost 6. She's got this much pending. So in 16 months, she's done 12 million in 23 transactions, okay? So here's some questions I want to ask. Are you married?
Yes.
I mean, I know the answers to a lot of these.
Yes.
Children.
I have 3 teenagers.
Okay, and is your husband with you?
Yes.
Okay, so who takes care of the kids?
More or less, yes.
Yeah, okay, so
you know, it's my husband runs a car dealership, so it's pretty much my sole responsibility to make sure that my kids are getting to and from. So part of getting into real estate was having the flexibility, but there's not a lot of flexibility when you're more or less on call 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we all know that because our phones ring nonstop.
right, well, yours does, but there's a reason for that too. Okay, so you, in addition to that, you take care of the kids. So for all of you who use the excuse, but I have kids, throwing it out, sorry. Okay, so with that being said, where are you from originally? How long have you been in the area?
I'm from Minnesota and I've been down here almost 2.5 years now.
Okay, so you have a big sphere here? Do you know many people?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You guys are my sphere.
Yeah, right. So, of these deals, how many came from RealGeeks and how many came from your sphere?
All of them are RealGeeks.
Okay.
I've not sold to anybody outside of RealGeeks.
Okay. So give me your mindset. Okay. So you come in, you know, you're like the rest of us because I know, you know, you have, all of a sudden you got, you know, nothing going on. What do you do to keep the business constantly flowing? What do you do?
It's constantly touching my database. If I want another deal, there's another deal in my database. I just have to find it. I have to make those phone calls. And if those phone calls aren't enough, Al, Lindsay, you got a couple extras that I can call? There's active people on our website all the time. And it's just wanting it. I want it for my kids to give them a better life.
So what does your normal day look like? Let's say, all right, forget about a day where you know, let's say you have a day where you're like, okay, I don't have any appointments, I don't have any deal follow-up to work on, I don't have to go and do a home inspection, I don't have to do any of that. What does a day look like when you've got nothing going on? When do you start? Where do you do it from? All that stuff.
I'm up by 6 a.m. like most of us are. Most days I try to get into the office. The office is a great place to learn. There's experienced agents here that, you know, it's just kind of running around and saying, hey, you know, how's it going? Or, you know, just getting other information from more people. You know, Summers is great for a lot of that stuff. Other agents, I went to Brian Kroonman and said, hey, help me with boats, help me with canals, help me, you know, with this stuff. You know, George is amazing for the history. You know, I live in Fort Myers, so my kids go to Cypress High School. So getting some of his feedback on, you know, what Fort Myers is like or what it used to be like. You know, it's talking to other people in the office and just working with everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm in the office, I make the phone calls, I send the emails, I'm constantly checking to see if I have somebody that's looking for a particular home or a lot or something. I'll spend a couple minutes on the MLS. Let me see what's out there that's new that maybe they haven't seen yet. I'll check the Facebook page. Who's got something that's up and coming? I'll send that to them. Because they're only looking at what they see on RealGeeks, they're not seeing the whole picture. And if you can add value by giving them something that they don't see, they're gonna, wow, this is amazing. I have a lot of my customers are like, you send me exactly what I want. I said I wanted a 350 to 450 house, and other agents are sending me $1 million properties. As much as I'd love to buy that, I can't afford it. But you're sending me exactly what I'm looking for. And that's why that search criteria is so huge, because that's why people will come, because we're listening. And as long as you're listening to what your customer has to say and building that rapport and building that relationship with them, they're gonna stick with you.
So with few exceptions, because I know there's exceptions, let's say a lead reaches back to you on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock. When do you get back to that lead?
Hopefully by 4:02.
Okay, so.
I mean, honestly, you have to be accessible to them. You know, it was Memorial Day, and I went out with a lady, and she's like, I'm not buying. I said, you know what? Let's go spend a couple hours. Let's go look at houses. Let's go look at areas. You know, it's Memorial Day. I had no plans. It worked for me. It worked for her. She goes, I'm not buying for a year. She had family members that were saying, I can't believe you found an agent that's going to take you out to show you something that you're not even buying for a year. She called me on Friday. We changed her mind. We want one of the houses. Let's make an offer. And she closes in a couple weeks.
So, all right. So I don't really have anything else. I mean, this is really about, again, she's exactly what I've been preaching to you. Work the database, get back to your customers, set up your searches. Okay, listen to your customers. Who has questions for Christina? Somebody's got, Sarah?
So you have follow-ups, you know, type of a thing, whether it be somebody that's not buying for a year or whatever. What do you do? I try not to be that pesky person, you know, but I want to stay in front of them. What do you say? What do you?
Mine's a once a month touch,
Okay.
is what I'll do with some of mine. I just closed on a house beginning of this week, took him out last June. He signed up on the website, was gonna be down in town, said I'm not gonna buy for a year, you know, called me up and said I'm coming down and buying a house this past June. Went under contract and we just closed. So I just kept that monthly touch with him. It's building that relationship with them, where they feel comfortable that, you know, when you do make that once a month phone call, hey, how are you? How's the wife? How's the job? How's weather? You know, they're not down here enjoying sunny Florida. How's the weather? And, you know, they don't seem to have like a negative, oh, you know, stop calling me, stop, I don't want to talk to you. You know, most of them are pretty appreciative that I'm keeping that touch with them.
So I want to make a point of what she said. She didn't say that she emails them monthly. She didn't say that she texts them monthly. What does she do every month? She calls them.
You can't build that personable relationship with somebody via text, because everybody's going to interpret a text and an email different than how they're going to interpret your voice. And by you talking to them on the phone, it just gives you so much more advantage, where you can, you know, if you can crack a little joke or something, you get their humor, they get your humor. You can't get that via text or email.
Who else has got something for Christina? Michelle.
Do they always answer you? I mean, you call once a month.
They don't always answer, and if
you text or?
yes, then I'll send something else. I will look at how I have corresponded with them throughout the process. So if they respond more via text, then I'll just send them a quick text. I don't want to blow them up. I don't want to say, oh, I'm going to send you a text and an email, and I already have the relationship with you. Just checking in with you. Not checking in, following up with you, wanting to see how you're doing. Just, you know, anything change? You know, and unfortunately, I just had a UK couple that I've been talking to for over a year, and they, you know, my monthly touch, and they sent me back an email and said, I am so sorry, we've had some drastic change in our family, and, you know, we wish you the best of luck, but we really appreciate you following up with us and continuing to be there for us. Unfortunately, they're not buying a house, but, you know, you take the good with the bad.
So actually, I do have one other thing for you. New leads. When you're on leads, where are you? What are you doing? How do you approach that new lead?
So we have a family calendar, and my kids know I have it literally in the calendar, 1 p.m. to 1 p.m. I am on leads. They go into my calendar and they say, Mom, what are you doing? I said, did you check the calendar? Oh, you're on leads. So when you're done, I am either at the office or I'm at my home office. I don't make any plans, I don't schedule anything during that time period because I want to be focused on the new people that are coming in, and I need that 5 minutes goes fast. Especially if you're out and about and you can't give them that one-on-one. If you're out and about, if you're, you know, at the grocery store at the checkout line and you're trying to make the phone call because you're trying to turn off the notification before it gets sent to the pond, and you got alcohol in you because why did it go to the pond? So I just, you know, we're not on, it's not like we're on every single day. We know the schedule a month in advance, that I know those days. I'm not scheduling any appointments. My kids know where I'm gonna be at. I'm either at home or I'm either at the office. Because then if I have a question, I've got support around to help me with that.
Thank you. Yeah. So so this is interesting too, okay? And I don't know the answer to this. What percentage of the new leads, when they come in, do you find that you make contact with?
I would say right now I can probably, I'd say 30 to 40% I'm making contact with, that I can actually get somebody on the phone, or we can correspond via their text message.
Would it surprise you that if I were to go into the CRM right now and look at the last 50 leads, that maybe you guys are making contact with maybe 5% of them? And let me tell you why. It's amazing to me how the same agents over and over have a high contact rate. And this is because she told you how she approaches these are all, we've talked about the opportunities. That's why she has this number for her 16 months and most of you don't. Okay? That's all it is. It's understanding you're being given an opportunity. This is the 24 hours that you are given. You're not going to have that other opportunity for 4 more days. Take advantage of your opportunities. Okay? So again, that's a great time. What do you do on those days? Do you usually work leads when you're on leads? Do you usually work leads?
That's normally when I'll touch my database. If I have follow-up calls, if I have stuff, that's when I'm checking in with the people. You know, I'm making those follow-up calls, emails, text messages when I'm on that shift, because what else? You're sitting right there in front of your computer waiting for that lead to come in. There's hot ones out there. There's ones that are coming in that are sitting here in town and want to buy a house now. They're, you know, needle in a haystack, but they're there. There's opportunity for everybody.
Okay, great. Who else has a question for Christina?
I have one. When you get a new lead and if you don't make contact with them right away, you obviously set them up on the workflow. What does your follow-up look like after that?
I will usually give them, I'll go to the next day, because we do have the workflow that's going. So I'll normally call them the next day, try them again, and then, you know, so we got day 1, day 2, day 3. And then I'll start, you know, sending out a text message or an email or both, and just saying, you know, hey, just want to verify that you got my email, you know, or if it's not, AOL likes to block us, so some people don't get our emails. And that's what I'll do a lot of the time, is I'll just send the link a second time in the email, not text, but I'll send the link a second time just in case they're not, because if they click on it, then they're exposed to the website again.
And you set up every search. Now, that's the other thing. When do you set up the searches? When the lead comes in, at what point do you set up the search for them?
Right after I make that phone call.
Okay, so you don't wait till after the leads have gone out, the emails have gone out the next day? You do it, okay.
I set up the search, so if I make contact with them, then I can set up the search as I'm on the phone with them, because then they're telling me what they want, and I can get it set up.
And even if you don't make contact, you set up a search?
I still set it up. I'll look and see what their search was, or what houses they looked at. You're not gonna be 100%, but it's better than them getting a huge variety of all, you know, however many thousands of houses and properties are for sale. At least it's narrowed down to what they're actually, you know, what they actually looked at.
And I do want to make that point, because I notice a lot of you have people who are looking at houses for $600,000, okay? Why do you start their search at $200,000? What's the point of that? Okay, so I saw somebody the other day, and I don't remember who it was, and it doesn't matter. They had a lead looking at a house for $850,000. What did they do? They set up the search $200,000 to $850,000. Why? I would probably set up that search from $600,000 to $1 million, right? So, you know, guys, let's do a better job of thinking. They don't need a $200,000 house if they're looking at $800,000 houses. If you send them garbage, you do not add any value, and that's just what Christina said. Take I told you, the most important workflow that you are sending them is that property search and naming it properly, not putting your names in it. I know a couple of you, we did put our names in it years ago. Please do not put your name when you are naming the search. It takes away from what you're trying to do. Okay? You don't need to anymore. Your picture and your name are on the email. If they respond, it goes to you. So please do not put your names on. I know we've mentioned that before, but I'm just going to reiterate it now. We don't need it anymore. RealGeeks changed a year ago. We don't need that anymore. Okay. Who else has a question for Christina? Oscar?
What's your intro when you make contact?
My intro is it's the format that we were given. I don't give them a chance. Hi, this is Christina with RE/MAX. I saw that you just signed up on our website, search capecoralhomes.com. You know, I go right into
Go through the whole thing. Go through the whole thing. Let them hear it from you. They hear it from me. They hear it from me. Go through the whole thing.
But that's, you know, don't give them a chance to talk. Let them hear your whole introduction. You know, hi, this is Christina with RE/MAX. I see that you just signed up on our website, search capecoralhomes.com. Are you here in town, or are you planning to study? You know, and you know, you just have to go into it that way. If you ask if you don't give them a chance to respond, it lets them know who you are and why you're calling, that they don't hang up on you, or they don't, you know. One guy, he's like, you were quick to the draw to call. I'm like, oh yes. I'm like, we got a well-oiled machine here. I'm like, 5 minutes is 5 minutes.
So what is your experience when you call people through exact dial and you get a hold of them, and they haven't given you a legitimate phone number?
Oh, with exact dial? I mean, it's either if they are not cranky, you know, answering the phone, it's just kind of like, oh hi, you know, just go on with it. Like they didn't even put their, you know, that they put their number in. You just kind of roll with it, you know. And if some of them are like, well, I didn't put my number in, how did you can find anything on the internet? Yeah. You know, but you know, how can I help you in your home search here down in Southwest Florida? They go on to talking. You know, every once in a while you get the customer that hangs up, but you know, goes with the territory of what we do.
So, all right, who else has a question for Christina? Nobody? All right, well, thank you, Christina.